My dear little explorers, I'm making this video again. It's an extension to the briefing session that we had. Well, digital platforms definitely has a lot of limitations, especially when we are dealing with children. So, which is why when I send the message out, I make it absolutely as clear as I make the instructions as clear as possible, so that when you read them, you would understand what has to be done. So I'm making this video just in case, if any of you did not understand about today's activity well, or if you needed more clarity about today's activity. Now, in the first place, as I've mentioned before, the objective of this camp is basically to try and simulate to whatever possible extent the experiences and the learnings that we would have in our during our regular camps, during a regular outdoor experience. Now, definitely we cannot simulate that we cannot simulate that to like at a scale of 100% when we're doing on a digital platform, but we are trying our best. The objective is to keep the association going, keep children, their inquisitiveness, their interests towards outdoors, towards nature, towards wildlife going at some level, in some form, to some degree, right? So coming back to today's activities, two things: one, shelter making; two, raft building. Shelter making, let's just shelter making shelters are something shelters are nothing but, these are things that will keep us safe, just like our homes in an urban setup. We need the same kind of a setup. We need something similar in the outdoors, in the wilderness. Our tents are nothing but temporary shelters. Of course, it's and there are different tents are designed for different weather conditions, different terrains, and so on. But essentially, fundamentally, tents are nothing but temporary shelters which will protect us, which will help us to spend day or a night, or basically help us to spend time, and also help us to stay protected in the wilderness, protected from the different weather conditions, the different wildlife, and so on. Now, what do we do if we don't have tents? Then we will have to create our temporary shelters. How do we do it? We just get creative. We just look around all the natural materials that are available. We would gather them, and we would construct a temporary shelter. Now, that's exactly what we are trying to do with this activity today. But we are sitting at our home, so what we do, we make a temporary shelter at our home. We can use pipes, window bars, sticks, your mop sticks, bed sheets, curtains, and saris, your cots, sofas, whatever you want. It should basically, you can imagine, you can choose the outdoor setup. You can think you are in the middle of a forest. You can think you're in the mountains, and so on. You can basically choose and create a shelter according to that. Shelter needs to have three things: roof, walls, and a opening. That's it. And you should be able to accommodate yourself inside the tent. First activity.